Um, Good morning, everyone. So today our Group T, will be presenting our analysis of an exposition text titled "The Negative Impact of Social Media on Teenagers." First of all, let me introduce our group members first. So there are Aisha Nirami, myself, Dafa, Abrar, and Rizka. So here's the text that we analyzed, and let's get right into the text structure. So the first structure is the thesis. The thesis statement is placed in the first paragraph. Social media is a communication medium, blah, blah, blah. So the sentence clearly introduces the writer's main idea, which is that social media negatively affects teenagers, and it also lists three problems that will be discussed in the body of the text, which is poor time management, laziness in studying, and lack of real life social interaction. We have the arguments. So there are three arguments. The first argument is that poor time management. So the text says that most teenagers today struggle to divide their time wisely, and they often to eat, sleep, or even help their parents because they're too busy scrolling to the social media. And if this habit continues, it can cause mental health problems like depression. The second argument is laziness in studying. Teenagers who are addicted to social media tend to ignore their study time and that they don't prioritize their education or their future goals, and that parents should guide and limit their children's use of social media, the author says. And the third or the last argument is the lack of real life social interaction. It is stated in the third paragraph, and the author says that instead of interacting with people around them, many teens choose to stay online, and this can make them feel disconnected from reality and even from themselves. And the author warns that this can lead to loneliness and difficulty in forming a real relationship. And the third structure is the reiteration, which is basically the closing or the summary. It is placed in the last paragraph of the text. And in the reiteration, the main points are repeated again. There's a call of action in the end that we must be able to control our time on social media from now. The paragraph concludes with a call to action, asking teenagers to start controlling their social media use from now on. Next up, we have language features that will be explained by the.
All right, thank you, Aisha, um, for the time. My name is Stefan. I'm going to explain a little bit about language features that is in the article. Next slide. Okay, here are some of the language features that a text like these should have. Okay, first we have the relational process, and then we have the internal conjunctions, causal conjunctions, present tense, um, other types of sentences like compound sentence and complex sentence, and linking verbs or linkers. First, you have the relational process. In the article itself, there's only one instance of the usage of this language feature. It is become in the first paragraph around the last sentence. Namely, can't set the time, become lazy about studying, and rarely socialize. That is the example. And the relation process is basically how something is related to each other, and this word connects that the aforementioned thing and the thing that it will become. Okay. Next, you have the internal conjunctions. For the additives, from my analysis and our collective analysis, there wasn't any additives, internal conjunctions. So next we have time, internal conjunctions with the example being nowadays, and finally you have the comparison internal conjunction being rather. And so you have the causal conjunction. Basic causal conjunctions are the cause and effect. A conjunction that tells cause and effect. One of that is because. In the second paragraph, uh, there's a there's a example of that. Okay, next we have present tense. Of course, present tense is very common in most articles, in most any type of literature, and in this one as well, it's littered with a lot of present tense. One that I chose is from the first paragraph. This condition makes them interact with other people via social media. This condition makes being a verb one, so that's why it's present tense. Interact with other people via social media. Okay. Next, you have the compound sentence. Compound sentences are sentences that have two independent clause, and I from our analysis there isn't any compound sentences. Maybe it's due to the length of the article. It's somewhat short, so there's no need for a compound sentence. But we have a couple of complex sentences. I'm going to choose the second one as an example here. Social media has a negative impact, namely can't set the time, become lazy about studying, and rarely socialize. So complex sentence basically is a sentence that consists of a independent clause and a main clause and a subordinate clause. Here, um, so the subordinate clause cannot exist without the main clause. So here, the second clause after the comma, after the first comma, namely can set the time, become lazy about studying, and rarely socialize. That is the subordinate clause. With the first example, um, I guess it's a lot more. You can see a lot more when someone spends more time on social media. That's the independent clause, so it can stand there uh, without any other sentences. Then it followed with they disconnect from life. Now, they disconnect from life cannot separate from when someone spends more time on social media. Okay, so and then finally you have linking. So linking basically is kind of like a connectives from one argument to another. So here we have first, it's like as we say, like first argument, and then second argument, and so on and so forth. That's all the language features from what we've gathered. If we miss anything, um, yeah, we'll correct it. Okay, so that's all for me. Thank you. I'll give it back to Aisha.
Okay, the next material will be joke action that will be explained by Rizka.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Rizka, and we move to the social function, which includes explain the purpose of the text and its role in academic or social communication. Next slide. So, for the purpose of the text of analytical exposition, text titled The Negative Impact of Social Media on Teenagers is to persuade and inform readers, especially teenagers, parents, and educators. The information is about the harmful effects of excessive social media use among teenagers. The text aims to present logical arguments and evidence to support the writer's viewpoints, encouraging the audience to reflect on their own habits and consider changing for behavior for the better. Next slide. Okay, so we move on to role in academic. So from an academic point of view, this text is very important for us. Why? Because it teaches us how to construct clear and logical arguments, complete with supporting reason and examples, and the skill is very useful for us in various college assignments, such as reading paper, giving presentation, or participating in class discussion. So by reading and analyzing text like this, we are also trained to think critically so that we do not simply accept information at face value, but can assess which arguments are strong and which are weak. So this helps us understand how to communicate effectively, which is undoubtedly very important in the academic world. Next slide. Okay, so for role in social, from a social perspective, this text also play an equally important role. By the topic discussed, the negative impact of social media on teenagers is something very close to our daily lives. Therefore, this text can make us more aware of the risks they might arise if we use social media too frequently or like irresponsibly. For example, it can cause us to lose control of our time, become lazy in our studies, or even reduce our direct social interaction with people. With this awareness, we can better control ourselves and perhaps also encourage those around us, such as friends or family, and to use technology more wisely together. Therefore, this text is not only about information, also encourage us to reflect on and discuss our daily habits. So that's all from me. I'm giving back to Aisha.
Thank you, Rizka. Next up, we have the summary, which will be explained by Ka Dafa. I'm sorry, Ka Abrar.
Uh, hello everyone. So, so I will be short on the. So I'll be short. I will just be, I will just be talking about the summary. So the summary here is overall the negative impact of social media on teenagers aims to inform and persuade a target audience by presenting an argument on how excessive use of social media negatively affects teenagers. It does so by presenting a thesis statement, three argument points, and reiteration, all of which were previously described on previous slides. By doing so, the text promotes a role in academic critical thinking and in social thinking through the discussion of an issue relevant to the text's target audience. Um, that will be all from me. I'll give it back to Aisha. Aisha, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ka Abrar, Rizka, and Dafa. Well, that concludes our presentation for this topic. And let me end our presentation by saying thank you for your attention, and I hope that our presentation can be useful and educational for the people watching. Thank you so much.